Tomas wants him and Kat to move in together. I said he doing whatever he can to get that doggone promotion, ain't he, y'all? He doing whatever he can. At first, I was like, is he about to propose? I said, I know doggone well he ain't about to propose. Either way it go, he knows what he doing. So if she agrees to move in with him, you know what's next. You know what's next, because Bill told him. He already told him. But yeah, aside from that, Tracy ended up seeing Vernon go with Sharon. Vernon should have just told the truth when Leslie confronted him. But I know he wanted to be a surprise. Look, I'm talking like we know what the surprise is. Like, we all assuming, well, a lot of us are assuming that she's helping him work on his singing. But I still feel like, never give nobody no chance to one-up you. But yeah, aside from that, Jacob ends up warning Isaiah about Eva. Ted confronted Tomas about talking to both or sleeping with both of his girls. Kat asked, was she selfish? Laura was worried about running into the crazy wig lady. And the last thing is that Naomi and Jacob seem to be in a better place now. Excuse me. But hey, y'all. Welcome back to another review with Life of Chess for Beyond the Gates, December the 5th. Look, I always be wondering what the date is. It is right there. I just don't be looking at the screen, y'all. First things first, let me know y'all thoughts on this episode down below. What did y'all think? Did y'all like the episode? Okay, so the Winterfest finally came, y'all. But it continues on next week's episode. Excuse me. But first, we're going to start with Anita, Sharon, and Tracy. So they just came. Sharon and Tracy ended up coming or whatever. First, like, I don't know why I thought that this was going to be one of them events where they dressed up in the little gowns and stuff like that. Because when Leslie was talking to Eva, she said she had got her something and she showed her the dress or whatever. Then they showed her with it on. And I said, I don't think that's the type of dress they wearing or the type of outfit for that type of event. But everybody was dressed regularly. I ain't gonna say regularly because some of them was dressed up and everything. But yeah, she had on the right thing then. Cause the show was like, wait a minute. I said, I don't think that's the way that she's supposed to be dressed going to this event, especially with how they act. But nah, it was all right. Hold on. But yeah, then look, y'all seen that? I said, let me find out. Leslie finally let Ted go. He done gave you the opportunity. He gave you an opportunity to ride with them, and you didn't take it. I said, let me find out she finally getting over Ted. I said, look, I don't know if she's trying to make him jealous or what. But yeah, what was they talking about? Anita and them. I think Anita ended up telling, let me just flip to my notes. But Anita ended up telling them that Leslie is Barbara's daughter. And they both were shocked or whatever. Tracy, I keep getting them mixed up. Sharon ends up asking where Vernon is. I said, the way they set it up, you would think that he actually cheating with her. You would think that he's actually cheating, but I don't think he's cheating. If he is cheating, I know something. The whole doggone, everybody on the show cheated. Some cheaters. But no, I think that he gonna surprise Anita because, she mentioned the other day on one of them episodes about his singing or whatever. So I'm assuming that's what they was working on. But I just feel like you shouldn't be running around, sneaking around, lying and stuff. And then I want to know if Leslie gonna get a chance to say anything before the surprise. Excuse me. Because so far, Leslie don't see them together. And now Tracy has seen them together. So I'm wondering, is anything going to happen? But also, before I forget, did y'all see that? Bill on the ground. Bill is on the floor or whatever. I think that was Haley screaming his name. I said, you did it. I said, you the one who did it. I said, you did it. But yeah, I said, Bill. I said, I thought Danny would have found him or something. But yeah, I said, well, it's going to be interesting next week, y'all. But yeah, what else? Sharon and Tracy end up arriving. Like I said, she told them about Leslie being Barbara's daughter. They was in disbelief. Vernon ends up coming and stuff like that. And they keep trying to insinuate there's something going on with Vernon and Sharon. What else? Vernon and Malone was talking. Malone was saying how he ready to watch Leslie, but I feel like something gonna go wrong with it. I feel like either he gonna catch feelings for her or he already interested. Or he's already interested. I don't know. I said, but yeah, she could go and get him. He crooked anyways. She ain't even gotta do too much. I said, she ain't even gotta do too much to get him. Excuse me. What else? I think he was just warning him, telling him about the job. The only thing he there for is to watch Leslie. Ain't no time to be making no jokes. This ain't no comedy show. That's what he told. It ain't no comedy show. This ain't no time to try to be funny. This is serious. Or whatever. I said, what they think she gonna do? But yeah, knowing her, ain't no telling what she up to. But yeah, what else? Because I know Elon, on the preview for next week's episode, Elon is supposed to be telling Malone he went about something the wrong way. I said, what he done did now? I said, what he done did now? Next we got Leslie and Eva and then Ted. Leslie and Eva, she ends up bringing her outfit. I already talked about how I thought it was going to be one of them gowns or something. That's what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be one of them formal events or something like that. And they was just talking about how now is her time and stuff like that. She gonna be on her father's arm and they gonna see, and she's so obsessed with the Duprees. I don't understand, cause Eva started to talk to her about Samantha's idea about a free clinic, and she wanted her help and stuff like that. She was like, she ends up saying how the way they could go about it is by starting their own nonprofit or whatever, like the Duprees. And then that's when Les was like, yeah, it'll be better and all this other stuff, the Dupree this and the Dupree that. And I said, she too obsessed with them. I said, she too obsessed with them. She keep doing all that talk about how now that she got money, she just like them, she going to the events like them and all this other extra stuff. But you don't get it. I mean, first of all, they ain't too much better than nobody. If we're being honest, like, if you got to go to the Bill, crooked self, or Joey, crooked self, or Malone, crooked self, then you just as dirty. You just as dirty, you just as bad. That's just what it is. I said, I think they got even more skeletons in their closet. But yeah, what else? Let's see. Ted ends up showing up, and that's when he brought, what did he bring her? What's some thing called? Is it called a shawl or something? He was like, in case she got cold. What else? What else did he say to her? Let's see if I can find it. I don't even know if I wrote it down. I said, Ted shows up to get Eva. No, I didn't write it down. I know he brought that little shawl thing or whatever it's called. Then he asked Leslie if she wanted to ride with them. And I said, no. I said, just because y'all got a child don't mean you got to do all this extra stuff, especially when she's a murderer or attempted murderer. But yeah, she was like, no, or whatever. And I said, wait a minute. She rejected Ted? I said, she must have went did something she ain't got no business. I said, what's going on? I said, what's going on now? Because what? The other day, did he invite her over to Martin's? I don't know if he invited her. I know he invited Eva. I don't know if she took it upon herself to think there was an invitation, because she was like she got to go do something else or something like that. But yeah, I was like, wait a minute now. I said, well, let me find out. You finally getting over this man. But yeah, what else? Let's see. Isaiah and Jacob. Jacob was just questioning him about what he up to outside of work, and he got offended. He felt like he was speaking for his dad and stuff, and he was like, he not speaking, for his dad. He just asking him because he concerned. He want to know what he got going on outside of work. Do he got a lady or something like that? He's already told you that I like Eva. And he's like, what? The girl's dangerous and this and that. She this and she that or whatever. And Isaiah got offended. He was like, that's not what I see. That I don't think the same thing that y'all think. What is Cat to him? Cat is his cousin-in-law or whatever. That's what he said about Cat and stuff like that. And he was just telling him about the lives that got destroyed because of her and her mama. And I said, it's going in one ear and out the other. I said, he don't care. I said, I don't think Eva's like her mama, but she has shown signs like her mama. Every time she got an opportunity to do better, I ain't gonna say every time. I take that back. She do be doing better than her mama, obviously, but at the same time, like, she be doing her dirty work, and she don't even realize that she doing her dirty work. But yeah, they've been talking a lot lately about what Leslie did to Laura. They showed Laura and Mona where I think she seen Leslie's name or whatever, and Mona was like, she gonna be her bodyguard. I said, what you gonna do? What you gonna do with that besides make me mad? What you gonna do, Mona? What you gonna do? How you gonna protect her? Yeah, so she gonna be her bodyguard. I think they ended up telling them. Yeah, they did. Who was it that told them? That went up there and told Laura and them that Malone was there to make sure Leslie don't do nothing. She ain't got no business. Who was it? I don't know. I forgot. Did Nicole and them ever show up? Look, I don't know. But because I know we supposed to be waiting to see who this dude is. What's his name? Dr. Rollins or something? Look, I don't know what they said his name was. But yeah, what else? We ain't finished with Isaiah and Jacob. After he said he like Eva and everything, that's when they got ready to go. Jacob ends up inviting Isaiah to the Winter Fest. He was like, no, he don't want to go there and stuff like that. So before he left, he ended up saying, "Oh yeah, Eva's gonna be there, with her dad." And then he's like, "I see you there." He knew he was coming behind Eva. He knew it. I said, "Now Eva, don't you do no stupid stuff." Look, I said, "Eva, don't you go back to the no Tomas. Don't you do it." I feel like she will eventually. Maybe not right now, but she will eventually. But yeah, I said, "Nuh-uh, stick with Isaiah." Now, I don't know what he got going on in his past. I feel like whoever that lady was, what was her name, Yolanda or something like that, I feel like she gonna pop up out of nowhere. We'll see. But yeah, and he showed up. Eva was happy to see him and stuff like that, but they ain't really dive into it. I'm assuming on Monday's episode, that's when we're gonna see more. I'm assuming on Monday's episode, that's when we're gonna see more between them. Ted and Tomas. Tomas thought stuff was sweet. He thought he done got away with everything. Ted ends up basically saying, what did he say to him? Let me check my notes. I don't know if I wrote it down, but I was like, about doggone time. Because Martin, y'all know I'm going to forever say that every time they show Tomas or whatever. Martin Tomas, so he could understand why Tomas would think that they had broken up. Man, say that crap. What he said, dog, I gotta start writing down everything, y'all. But yeah, Ted was confronting him about sleeping with both of his daughters. I said, right on. I said, exactly. Then he told me some, what he said, that was before we had a lot going on or whatever, but it's not like that anymore. We Cat, I love her. I said, I don't think I believe you. But matter of fact, I know I don't believe you. Talking about, I got some big plans for Cat. So Ted was like, what are they? He was like, if Cat says it's okay, I'll share it. I said, I know doggone well he ain't finna propose. I know he finna propose, but instead of proposing, he want to move in together. To my son, he don't like sleeping without her and all this other extra stuff. Liar. That's a liar. He's lying like it ain't nothing. You saying that because Bill said he want to favor people who, devoted and in committed to relationships and stuff like that. That's why you doing this. That's exactly why you doing this. And not just that, you obviously seen that beforehand. That's why you can't turn Cat loose. That's the same thing Eva said. Because she looked better on his arm in regards to his career. Oh, liar. But yeah, trying to reassure, tell my son, it's not like that no more. He love Cat. I said, I don't think I believe you, buddy. Laura and Mona go over the details for the event. Mona ends up telling Laura that she'll be her bodyguard. Cat, Nicole, Naomi, they was getting their makeup did and everything. That's when Cat ends up asking if she's selfish. And she ain't said why, people had said it or why Samantha said it. But she did say she had another run-in with her half-sister, with Eva. So they started talking about the same thing. They keep talking about Eva and Kat going back and forth and all this other stuff. But yeah, so that's when Nicole was like, she needs to find herself this. Kat ended up getting offended because she felt like her mama was calling her selfish or whatever, because she decided she didn't want to go because Eva was going to be there and the night was going to be all about Eva. And I said, look, I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of it. She got every right to feel how she feels. And when she get over it, she'll get over it. But she need to get over it now. She need to get over it now. The fact that you ain't attended, and Nicole brought that up. She was like, first it was the Thanksgiving event. You went out of town. Now you talking about so you ain't coming to Winterfest. Now I want to see if she actually coming out. Because she might change her mind Monday. She definitely might. And then not only that, Tomas, I thought he was going to end up saying something because, everybody going to be there. Bill's going to be there or whatever. So if you see them together attending a family event, well, not just a family event because, everybody coming or whatever, then that might score points in his favor. So I was thinking he was going to convince her to go. She talking about, so she got other, ideas. That's a girl, please. You done started and don't know when to stop. You done started and don't know where to stop. And that's not going to solve the obvious. I'm about to say that's not going to solve the elephant in the room. What, girl? That don't even make sense. That's not going to solve the elephant in the room. What was I going to say? That's not going to change reality. The fact that I've been studying saying he wants both of them. But I feel like, once again, he wants even more. He just with Kat because he know that that's gonna score him points, or he think that will anyways. But yeah, what else? We talked about Ted and Tomas. Kat was talking to Nicole and Naomi. They was trying to encourage her to go and stuff like that. She got offended. She ends up leaving. She went drinking and stuff like that. Tomas asked her why she wasn't going to Winterfest. She ends up telling about Eva or whatever. And I thought he was gonna be mad again because he do not like when you talking about his woman. He don't like that. He does not like that at all. So, but no, he was understanding. That's when she was like, she got a better idea. She got a better idea and stuff like that. And they just smiling and stuff at each other. And I said, girl, you got to come off eventually. You gotta get up. Okay. Next, what we got? Um, excuse me. Excuse me. Laura and Mona, we talked about them. Kat and Tomas, we talked about them. Jacob and Naomi, they was talking about whether or not Kat was gonna come. Then Jacob ends up seeing Malone. I said, Jacob, you gonna get yourself into some trouble. Stay out these folks' business. He done went over there questioning Malone about what he doing there. He was like, he got hired basically by the priest to keep a watchful eye or whatever. And Jacob talking about something. If I see some criminals, I'll send them your way. I said, well, you see one right there. There she go, Leslie. Go no. Then I think Naomi was the one saying how they didn't find no evidence against Leslie about the whole Laura situation and stuff like that. I said, what? She did it. I said, she definitely did it. Now, will she pay for her crimes? No. Will she pay for the next crime she do? Yeah. She gonna do something else. She's definitely gonna do something else. I don't know what it is. I don't know if she gonna make another attempt at Laura or what, because Laura mentioned something on today's episode about Leslie and stuff like that. The scene where her and Mona was talking. I was like, yeah, maybe she's gonna try to